Hi there. So in this video, we are going to be learning how to use the puppet work tool in Illustrator. So we're in Illustrator. We're going to be using this, which is the puppet work tool. So what I have done so far is create a square template for us to work on. I've created this crescent moon that you can see in layer 2. This was created using shapes and then the shape builder tool to erase the previous circle that it had above it to create this crescent shape. So when we are kind of working through expressive type, we want to take the word smile, for example, and actually transform it into what it actually means. So when we see the letters S-M-I-L-E, we don't automatically think of, of a crescent moon, someone's actual mouth and a smile, until we actually see the word smile, and that's what we think of. So right now we're trying to take our our text here, and actually transform it into what it means when we say it, right? So we're going to do that with the puppet warp tool. How I'm going to do this is I'm going to turn off layer 2. I have layer 2 selected on here just to give me an idea of where my smile should be. I'm not going to select it right now. I put my letters in kind of that same shape to give me an idea of where they should be located. With my S selected, I'm going to click on the puppet warp tool. And then I'm going to want to go into one of the corners of the S and click on it. And as you can see, you're going to get these different kind of poly shapes that we have in here to give us an idea of where our S can curve. So we can see different points and dots to kind of give us an idea of where the S is curving. I'm going to put another dot on this corner right here. I'm going to put 2 right there. And you might also want to put some dots in some areas where the S can curve around. You may even want to put some of these points within the S, but that's up to you. I'm not going to just yet, as we're going to play around with this. So if you want to turn on layer 2, you can get an idea of where your smile is. And now what we're going to do is click on one of these points and drag. Okay. Drag this one down. Drag it over just slightly. And a lot of this is playing around with type and seeing where it can go, where it can stretch, where it can't stretch, all these different kind of things. And also keep in mind that your shape is what you make of it, right? So maybe you want to take your crescent moon shape, whatever you're trying to do with maybe you want to make it just slightly bigger to give yourself a little bit more room to work with. That's up to you and how you want to do things. I'm going to go back to layer 1 and click on my S and click on my puppet warp tool and go back to my points and kind of stretch and transform this to fit into this smile right here. Now you can see that a shape can dip like this, so really kind of be careful with where your points are. It is definitely a trial and error kind of experiment with this. So we have our S, and we're going to do the same thing with our E. The E is a little more tricky in my opinion because it doesn't have the curves that this S does to fit into the curves of this smile. So that's something we're going to have to play around with and maybe maneuver just slightly. So let's try the same thing again. We clicked on our E, we clicked on puppet warp, and you should be able to click onto the different points of the E here in order to be able to move it. Now the reason I'm working on the outer corners and not the inside of the E is because we don't need to move the inside of the E, we need to move the corners of it so it will stretch and bend and ebb and flow to create our smile. I'm going to move this down slightly so that we can move Let's see if we can try to move this one down. It's being a little wonky right now. I'm going to turn this off for a second to kind of give me a better idea of where things are. There we go. Now I can move my E how I want it. I'm going to move that down with it too. There we go. Turn this back on just so I can get an idea of where I'm at right now. So that is the Puppet Warp tool, and you should be able to create a lot of different kind of text and movement with your letters. And at the very end of this, you would create a smile that would fit into this space. The M will stretch, the I might not stretch too much, but the L and the E, the S, the M, those are definitely all stretching to create our smile that we want. That is how you use the Puppet Warp tool. Once you are finished with your creation, you feel good about it, make sure that you do File, Export, and then you export as a PNG or a PDF, and go ahead and turn that in.